This is the first in the series of 6 short videos that will give you a brief introduction to spreadsheets and give you some of the background knowledge you will need to be successful in the spreadsheet unit. First, we're going to be looking at a spreadsheet tour. I'll make that yellow. So what you're looking at here is a spreadsheet. It's made up of rows and columns. It looks very much like a word table, except that every one of the rows is labeled with a number, 1, 2, 3, 4, and so on. And every one of the columns is labeled with a letter, A, B, C, D, and so on. And if we scroll to the right, you'll see that we go through the alphabet, and then we have an A alphabet, and then a B alphabet, and then a C alphabet. And it keeps going until you get way into the hundreds of rows, and hundreds of columns. And in the rows, they're numbered, and they continue down a long way, actually, past 60,000. So really it's a huge workspace made up of rows and columns, and the intersection of each row and column is called a cell. So here I have clicked in cell F4, and it shows me F4 up here in the name box. I could click somewhere else. That's K11. It shows me K11 here in the name box, and it also shows the K highlighted as well as the 11. So each cell location has an address, and we can do a lot in each one of these cells. We can also format these cells individually. Up on the menu bar here, you have some of the familiar menus, file, home, insert, and page layout. These are existing in Word, and they do pretty much the same functions as they do in Word. And here on the toolbar, this is the home menu toolbar, and you can see font changes and alignment changes, and a lot of the familiar buttons that you would have seen in Microsoft Word. This is the second introductory video on spreadsheets to show you how to adjust column widths and row heights. Every one of these columns has a default width. Every one of these rows has a default height. It's easily changed. All we have to do is move our pointer in between two columns. And right here, it changes to that double directional arrow, and I can change the width of column E by clicking and dragging. I can also change the height of row 3 by clicking and dragging here between rows 3 and 4. And because of this, I can make these as large as I need to accommodate all the data that's in them. Now, a neat thing about column widths and row heights is that if you have data that spans more than the width of a particular column, like here where it says column widths and row heights, that's all here in cell B3. If I would like to widen column B to accommodate wide data, I could just go between B and C and double click, and by double clicking it widens to accommodate its widest data. In this short video we will talk about cell formatting. Every one of these cells can be formatted differently to display data in different formats. So let's take G3 and we'll add some numbers in. There are some numbers. We're going to add in some dates down below. Let's say December 12 and I don't know, 1/3, what comes up? January the 3rd, and then we'll just type in some random words here. And we want to format these cells. Let's say I want to format these numbers differently. Well, I can go to the format menu this way, or I can hold down the control key and hit 1. Control 1 gives me this menu, format cells. So I can format the number, the alignment, the font, the borders, the fill, that is to say whether it's going to have a background, all using this. So let's put a little pink background on there. Let's put a border around it and through it. And I'm also going to change the number so that they're all showing up as currency with 4 decimal places. Okay, now it looks like that. That's ridiculous, of course, but that's just one of my options. These dates, Control 1. In a date format here, I can choose any number of dates here. Let's try this one, because that's a big wide one, and watch what happens. It gives me that. Anytime you have numeric data and it's too wide for the cells, it'll give you a bunch of number signs, and you have to widen your cells maybe a bit more. There we go. I'll just double click, and it gives me the extra width that I need. And these are just alignment issues. I can go Control 1, or I can just simply change the alignment up here, because I have the same alignment keys I'm familiar with from Microsoft Word. So remember, Control 1 will allow you to format cells, and it can display numbers and dates, and it can change alignments and fill and borders, everything you need for formatting under Control 1.